Hello and welcome to today's grammar lesson. I don't want you to write anything down yet. Just close your notebooks and pay very close attention. I'm going to be going through a concept today. It's called sentence diagramming. This is going to be an introduction to level 2 for us. To keep things simple, what I'd like to do is start off with a sentence that we already know. The super small boy barely squeezed through the hole in the wall. We've seen this sentence before. As a matter of fact, we know the answers. What I'm going to do is I want to pull off the heading of our paper today because I want to keep it as clean and simple as possible as I go through this concept. So I'm going to pull that off. Now, in case you don't remember how we got to these answers, I'll add the arrows here so that we can see this. As a matter of fact, arrows are a great way to learn the concepts of the parts of speech, to see the relationship with each other. But as you can see, as the sentences get more and more complicated, it gets more and more cluttered up here. There's a much easier way to do this, and it's a lot more precise. It's called sentence diagramming, and that's what we're going to take a look at. So you might also remember that we drew a line between the subject and the predicate of this sentence and some other sentences in the recent past. And this line indicates that everything on the left-hand side of this line is who or what we are talking about, known as the subject, and everything over here on the right-hand side of the line is what we are saying about it, known as the predicate. Now, when we do level 2, it's actually quite simple for this sentence. It would look like this. That's it. Level 2 complete. But let me explain what's going on here. You'll see this little hook and a line going underneath. You'll see this little hook and a line going underneath. What this is doing is it's telling us the complete subject over here, all the words involved in telling us who. And on the right-hand side, the line goes underneath all the words that tell us about what we are saying about the who. Those are known as the complete subject and the complete predicate. Now, if we had to narrow it down to just one significant word on either side of that line, we would arrive with the simple subject, boy, and the simple predicate, squeezed. Now what I mean by that is every word over here that is not boy is telling me about the boy. And every word over here that is not squeezed is telling me about the squeezed. These are known as simple predicate and simple subject. A little trick of the trade is your simple subject is always going to be a noun or a pronoun, and your simple predicate's even easier. It can only be a verb. You'll notice I put the abbreviation for these parts of sentence underneath the word that is the simple of each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those notes out of the way to show you the very first step of how to diagram this sentence. We have all the components that we need right now in this level 1 and level 2 to help us diagram. And when we learn how to diagram, it's going to lead us right through levels 3 and levels 4. So the first thing that we have to do is draw this symbol. Now this symbol is the start of it all. You'll notice this line looks very similar to this line. On this side will be our subject, and on this side will be our predicate. But not all the words will go on this line, and not all the words will go on that line. As a matter of fact, we would just do the simple subject here and the simple predicate here. Now, all the other words of the simple subject have to be on this side of the line. And because they're all modifying boy, they're going to be beneath boy. Like this. The what? The boy. Small what? Small boy. Same as our arrows up here. The to boy and small to boy. You'll notice here that super is missing. That's because super is not modifying boy. I'm not saying super boy, da-da-da. I'm saying super small. So, how do we draw that? Super in this case is an adverb modifying the adjective, and it would be drawn like this. Move this down a little bit so we can see it a little more easily. So now I have the boy, small boy, super small boy, and I'm done with the subject. Now I have many more words over here, so this is going to look a little bit more complicated when we're all done, but it's the same process. In the predicate, there is only one single word that is modifying squeezed. There are several words that work together as a group to modify, but there's only one that works alone, and that is going to be barely. So barely comes beneath squeezed because it's an adverb modifying a verb. The comes beneath boy because it's an adjective modifying a noun. Now, this is where the trick comes in. We have what they call a prepositional phrase. And a phrase, by definition, is a group of words acting like a single part of speech. So we have here squeezed, and we have this preposition through. Through the whole is describing these three words are acting as a group to describe the squeeze. And it would be drawn like this. Now students, when they first see this, they say, no, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. It's not in any kind of order whatsoever. It's not supposed to be in order from beginning to end. It's in order of importance and its role toward other words. So for example, through is placed here because it is showing the relationship between squeezed and whole. The is placed underneath whole, the same as the is placed underneath boy. The is modifying an adjective, the is modifying a noun, and the is modifying a noun. So if that is the case, we have three more words left. Up here we have in the wall. So if I place in the wall underneath squeezed, I would literally be saying that in the wall is telling me where he squeezed. He didn't squeeze into the wall. He squeezed through the hole. So this would be the drawing. Take a second and think if you can figure out the order of the last three words on these lines. It would look like this. Why does it look like that? For the same reason the one above does. In is showing the relationship between whole and wall. I could say around, through, beneath. All those would be in here as prepositions. The is showing the relationship between, or the is describing the wall as an adjective. So, to recap, diagramming a sentence, the process is always the same. We start with this symbol until we're told to change it. Once we have that symbol, we put down the simple subject and the simple predicate on the appropriate sides. Then we take a look at the subject and we say, are any words directly modifying that subject? And we have two, the, small, and boy. Then we see if we have any words modifying those words. We do. We have super. Then we go to the predicate and we see, do we have any words directly modifying squeezed? And we get barely. Then, after that, we have a group of words that work together to modify squeezed through the hole, shown as a relationship like this. Now we have a group of words that describe hole in the wall, as shown in this relationship. So go ahead and get out your notebook now and write this down. Everything you see right here on the screen. Copy this down exactly how you see it. When you're done with that, hit play, and I'll give you a practice sentence and let's see if we can solve it together. All right, so here we are with diagramming practice number 1. We're going to do levels 1 and 2 for this sentence. So what I want you to do is go underneath, do all the parts of speech for level 1, and then go to level 2 and see if you can figure out where that line gets drawn in the sentence, place underneath the simple subject, the abbreviation for subject, and place underneath the simple predicate, the abbreviation for predicate. Once you think you have all that, go ahead and hit play, and I'll give you all the answers. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go through very quickly, so here we go. The is an adjective. I take that answer, that free answer, the what? The cat. That gives me a noun here in cat. I look for another one, the tree. That means this is an adjective. And this is going to be also a noun. Okay, I'm looking for another one. I got a third free answer here. So that's going to be an adjective. And ground is going to be a noun. All right, so now I'm looking for a verb. I got to have a verb. Here it is. Any words that describe this verb? Yes, gracefully. That's going to be an adverb. All right, now I'm left with in and to. In is talking about the cat, showing the relationship between the cat and the tree. To is showing the relationship between jumped and the ground. Now, where would I draw my line? What is my complete subject and my complete predicate? Where does it go? Right here. So I'm going to hop down to level 2 here, and now I need to pick the simple subject, the cat in the tree. Am I talking about the tree did the jumping? No, the cat did the jumping. There we go. I've got a subject here, and I've got over here, jumped is going to be my predicate, my simple predicate. That's where I put my abbreviation. Now I can't forget the lines to indicate what I'm talking about. Doing this freehand, so sorry about the handwriting here. And going all the way over there. Level 2 is done, but let's diagram this thing out. I'm going to move this down a little bit so it's a little bit easier for me to write. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw you out the picture, hit pause, and try to fill it in yourself. So here comes the diagram. I always start like this. You have to, never mind my freehand here. Let me see, it's going to go like this, and then a little tricky, like this. Then we have one here, and we have another one of these here. That's it. Now I'll straighten that last line, it's a little crazy. All right, so hit pause, fill them in, see what you got. All right, so let's take a look at the answers here. I'm doing simple subject here is cat. Simple predicate is jumped. All the other words are going to be modifying one of those two. So I go with straight up with adjectives that go straight into it. The cat. And then I have a prepositional phrase. Prepositions show the relationship between two words. In, careful here, this should be tree. And then there's a word underneath that helps me modify tree, which is the. Over here I have a single word modifying our verb. This would be my adverb. Gracefully goes there. And now I have a preposition that needs to link these two words. So show the relationship. So I've got to, ground. That's where the tricky one is. And the. If you were able to do that, you now have the basic concepts that will get you all the way through the 4 levels of grammar. That'll be it for diagramming practice 1.